Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UDOS podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about things that you may not know enough about. So, today we're going to talk about, let's say, a disputed territory. Or maybe that's it is giving away what we're going to talk about. So, today we're going to talk about Northern Ireland. So, to many people, Northern Ireland is not a common country that we talk about. Like, whenever we talk about UK, everybody just understands UK as maybe a bunch of countries or England. Like, UK equals to England. But it's more complicated than that. There are many territories that exist independently. Like, you have Wales, you have Northern Ireland, Scotland as well. So, these countries actually exist independently. So, today we're going to understand the dynamics in a different light. We're going to understand the dynamics based on Brexit. So let's set up a bit of context first. Firstly, UK is a part of the EU, the European Union. So why is it important that the UK is part of the European Union? Well, there are a couple of benefits. So firstly, you can trade freely with your EU members. This means that everybody has the same rate, so everybody's buying all the goods at the same price. The second thing is you don't need visas in order to go to another country. You can literally just step across the border to go to France from the United Kingdom. That easy. All of this allows for more trade movements, for like greater intellectual discussions, or a more united Europe, right? So this is why European Union is such a cool concept. Then Brexit happened. Brexit basically is where the United Kingdom decided to leave EU. So when the United Kingdom left EU, that means that they took control of their borders. That means people now had to apply for a visa, or even goods couldn't go through freely. That means now goods had a customs check, and they also had an extra pricing. So it's more expensive to buy goods from other European countries. Also, the fact that now the borders that the UK has is considered a hard border. That means now it's heavily militarized, protected by the army. If you cross it, you could be like shot dead, like maritime borders in like Malaysia, for instance. But the most important part that we want to talk about again is about Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. There's a big difference, and we are going to talk about it in a bit. So, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland are severely affected by UK's decision carry out Brexit. So with that being said, Amma, help me figure this out. What in the world is Republic of Ireland, and what's the history behind it?
Right. So let's talk about the history of the Irish border first, right? Now, at this point, we all know about UK's history of conquering almost the entirety of the world. So much like a majority of other countries, Ireland was ruled by the UK for centuries, right? So what ended up happening was that at some point in history, the Irish people rebelled about that them ruling Ireland. But still many of the British wanted that to stay the same. So what happened was that the UK divided the whole of Ireland. First of all, to put into context, before this happened, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland was just sort of one Ireland, right?
It's just Ireland.
Yep, it's just Ireland, right? And then, so when this conflict happened and this rebellion happened, the UK divided Ireland into two parts. We have the Republic of Ireland first, which is its own independent separate country, right? Consisting mainly of nationalists, right? Irish people who were proud of being Irish, who wanted that independence. Important thing to point out, they also mostly consisted of Catholics. That's one half, right? And the other half was Northern Ireland, which also consisted mainly of Unionists, who were mainly Protestant, who were pro-UK, who wanted to be part of the UK and all the advantages that it brought them, right? So nationalist, independents, Unionist, join with UK. Now we have these two groups, okay? Now, for a long time, South of Ireland sort of separated from the North until it became a completely separate republic. And there was a point in time where the borders between the North and the Republic, or the North and the South, was very porous. A lot of trade, a lot of things were happening. But then it became hostile very quickly, especially during the time of this rebellion. This was like custom checks for every little item, difficulty traveling to and from, requiring severe military presence, right? And this is what all led to a very significant trade war, where there were very high tariffs on mainly agricultural products and goods, so steel and coal and wood, things like that. Now, all of this culminated into one point in history where everything just sort of exploded, right, in the 60s. So Vishnu, tell me about that.
So in Northern Ireland, you had the two groups, the nationalists and the unionists. Now, the nationalists felt very antagonized by the UK's president, so they wanted to fight back. Now, obviously, the UK is, at that point in time in the 60s, maybe its power is rescinding, but it's still a relatively powerful country compared to Northern Ireland. So these nationalists decided to take arms upon themselves to fight back against the UK. So what this looked like was your nationalists or your Catholic minority, they started forming rebellion groups or terrorist groups. The most famous one being the Irish Republican Army or the IRA. So their motive was simple. They want Northern Ireland to be part of Republic of Ireland. And they felt that they were being oppressed by the UK. They felt like all the benefits that the UK gave were nonsense and it shouldn't exist. We just want Ireland to be Ireland. So these guys would fight at the borders. They would fight against the militarized borders where like the UK had set up its tanks, watchtowers, and then fighting would go on for a lot of time, right? So even though there were the Catholic militaries or Catholic terrorist groups, even the Unionists created their own like military group to fight back against the Protestants. So these two groups of people were very hostile to each other, and this culminated into a very war-torn state of Northern Ireland. So you had like car bomb explosions, suicide explosions, buildings just blowing up. A lot of people died. When I say a lot, right? In 30 years, you had like about a couple of thousands of people who died. That's still a lot of people. The borders were extremely hard. Trade wasn't good. The economy of Northern Ireland was suffering heavily because of the state of war that the country was in. So from the 60s until the 90s, the fighting continued non-stop. IRA versus the UK and the Unionist people in Northern Ireland. Then in 1998, both sides decided to come to an agreement, both sides being the Unionists and the Nationalists, and they came together to have an agreement. The agreement was called the Good Friday Agreement. So this agreement is extremely important. Why? For a few reasons. First is that both of them agreed to a compromise. What was this compromise? This compromise, pretty cool. Firstly, they both agreed that Northern Ireland is a part of the UK. So the Irish or the nationalist individuals are like, okay, we have one concession. Second thing, anybody in Northern Ireland is eligible for a UK and Irish citizenship. So you have dual citizenship. So if you were a nationalist, you can opt for the Irish citizenship. If you were a unionist, you can opt for the United Kingdom citizen. So that's pretty fair. The next thing they did was that Northern Ireland will have referendums. Referendums on whether they want to join Ireland or not. So let's just say the people of Northern Ireland wanted to join Ireland at some point in the future, they can have a referendum and then they can become a part of Ireland. As simple as that. So this is in the event that people's point of view about the UK changes at any point in time. And lastly, any nationalist in the Republic of Ireland, they can just join Ireland only. So this deal is very important because almost all the parties got the benefits that they want. Obviously, it has to come with a few concessions, but most parties were able to have the most mutualistic agreement at the end of it. So because of these agreements, they removed the hard borders. That means the borders were demilitarized. Your IRA started reducing its like military attacks or attacks on people and stuff. So things were more peaceful. Trade could like go through freely between both countries. Economic prosperity happened, and like the country was like moving on from its war-torn past for the past 30 years. But something else happened again. So Amma, how did Brexit affect the peace that the Good Friday Agreement had created?
Right. So the time period of this war-torn conflict of 30 years, called I believe the Troubles, was the time period, was obviously incredibly devastating, right? And if you want a small reference, there's a song called "Zombie" by the Cranberries that is actually a protest song about a bombing that took place. So it was not a good situation. So when Dev brought up all of this advancement, it honestly seems very good. And then Brexit happened. Now, earlier we mentioned a little bit about the geography of Ireland as a whole and sort of their political standing. So we know for a fact Republic of Ireland is part of the EU, while the Northern Ireland, that's part of the UK, is no longer part of the EU. What that means is that there is a likelihood that the borders could become hostile again. And this doesn't necessarily mean some form of militaristic hostility. It could even make simple things like trade and traveling incredibly difficult. So Northern Ireland wants to stay in the EU, right? For obvious reasons, because it gives them a lot of benefits. But then on the topic of the borders, UK has still been very dodgy on actually what is going to happen. Now, I will mention that our reference is maybe a little bit old, so any developments that could have happened, if there are any, we'll leave links in the description. But as per this reference, it's still very dodgy. So the EU and the UK are negotiating on a certain number of issues that are going to happen, particularly between interactions of any EU-related party and the UK. Things like citizen rights and financial settlements, and on the topic of the Good Friday Agreement, particularly on how it's going to be enforced to prevent any form of hostility. Now, I don't have to emphasize how important it is that this sort of hostility doesn't happen again, because 30 years of conflict is nothing to scoff at, really. You know, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, even the song I mentioned was actually, I believe it was written for the death of, I think, 2 children who were killed in these bombings. Like, there was a bomb in a trash can or something. I cannot remember the specifics, but it's there, right? So all this taken into consideration, right? The cards here are on the table. Now we just need to make sure things don't become bad again. What are the options that exist for both the UK and to some extent Ireland as a whole? Vishnu?
So the first thing we need to clarify is there are no good options on the table. Every option is bad.
Yeah.
So there are like 3 to 4 options that are available. So the first is that the UK imposes a hard border wherever Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland divide them. If you put a hard border, that means you're going to have trade restrictions, you're going to have extra price. I mean, you're going to have an increase in prices for goods and services. People are going to need visas to go across the border. So things are going to get like militarized again. They're going to fight because they don't agree with the border and the country separate. So that's bad. The second thing is about reunifying Ireland and making sure that Ireland and UK are completely different entity. This is a very big problem because if you're going to treat these 2 countries as different entities, the nationalists are still going to fight against the unionists. So conflict is still going to exist in different forms. So it's not going to be just terrorist groups, which is bad, but it's also going to be politically, economically, and socially like discriminating against one another, where one political party is in charge, the other group is completely screwed. Right? That is the most harmful situation that can exist because through politics, you know how minorities are being oppressed. Like, I don't need to go in detail about that. It's as simple as that, right? And the third option on the table is for the UK to stay in the EU. Because remember, the main reason why the conflicts or these disagreements are coming about again is because the Republic of Ireland is in EU, but the UK isn't, right? So the last solution on the table is if the UK simply joined the EU. But the problem is that it's not going to happen for a few reasons. First is the fact that the current political party, which is the Tories, those guys work really hard just to get Brexit to happen. Like, they campaign on this stuff for so long, and it's still unsuccessful because it's so complicated. They need to deal with a lot of negotiations, and they keep on postponing the deal on when they will leave the EU because there's just too much going on and so many things are complicated. So these guys are never going to step down because if they admit that Brexit was a failure, then obviously they're going to get voted out. So because of that reason, the UK is not going to join back the EU anytime soon. So in conclusion, right, the most important thing is Northern Ireland is in a very bad situation. Like, I mean, we've made it clear, right? The Northern Ireland is in a really bad situation. And the most important thing, other than like the harms that they go through, is that Northern Ireland is not part of negotiations that the EU has with the UK. That means whenever EU talks with UK, they talk about, hey, bro. I mean, you don't call bro, lah, but you get the point, right? Hey, bro, what is the current customs that you want to put? Do people need visas? And then UK is like, yes, no, we don't know. It's complicated. And Northern Ireland is not included in any of those negotiations. So if Northern Ireland is never included in those negotiations, the war-torn state that we heard about in the 60s is going to come up again. And situations like Kashmir are already too familiar to people, and it's just going to be really sad to see that happening for the Republic, for the Northern Irish people at the end of the day.
Yeah. Especially considering the fact that this conflict of 30 years, in many places, people are still recovering from the toll it took in terms of infrastructure, in terms of political power. So for this to suddenly come up again, it's not going to be ideal.
Here's the thing, like, even though prior to Brexit, right, the two groups of people, the Unionists and the Nationalists, they used to have like military parades, and then they would like burn some structures in memory of like all the damage that was done. And even when they had all those like military parades, like the war's not going on anymore, but the memories that the people have attached to their war-torn past is very military influenced. Like all the children have to be part of the band, they need to be part of the military. Some of them already know how to use guns. That's the culture that exists for most of those kids or like the people of the current generation. So moving into a war doesn't seem unlikely at all.
Yeah. Though I think if there's any good thing we can take from this is that at least recently, to the point of making this video, there have been advancements made to try and maintain the 1998 Good Friday agreement, which is good. It's simple in the forms of, you're not going to have intense checks, so on and so forth, which is better than nothing. But right now, in a time where I believe the day previous to the filming of this video, a statement was made regarding collapsing a government of Belfast by Northern Ireland if Brexit rules weren't changed. So, not exactly an ideal situation. It could go either way at this point.
Well, we just need to, I mean, you as a viewer, get more updates about it, be more informed, that let's just see things hold most positive.
Yeah.
So, there you have it. This is the podcast session where we talk about North Ireland. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, click like twice. Subscribe to our channel. Follow all our socials. I think this video we used last week tonight video as a reference, so link will be in the description. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.
Ciao.